Next topic we want to talk about is pure monopoly. Now, when we talk about monopoly, I'm sure you've had in other courses the concept that to monopolize is to commit a crime. Sherman Antitrust Act tells us that anyone who conspires to monopolize is guilty of a misdemeanor. I want to change the term monopoly to more so a term of market power. So if I use market power and I use the term monopoly in this discussion, know that they mean the same thing. A firm that has market power is a firm that basically has competitors. But for some reason, you go in and purchase a product ignoring all the competitors. Now, you know what those products are. For some reason, you might like Colgate toothpaste over Crest toothpaste. Colgate might be more, and you're willing to pay that money because for some reason, in your eyes, Colgate tastes better, Colgate is better, it creates less cavities or what have you. In these situations, that is a firm with market power. That is a firm that is a monopolist. Even given all the toothpastes that are out there on the market today, you choose to buy a more expensive one or one that costs more than others might. So therefore, we have some characteristics of a firm that is a pure monopolist or that a firm that has market power. And that firm has a single seller. In this case, you would pick up the Colgate. You would pick up, that is made, I think, by, I know it's made by Colgate-Palmolive, as opposed to Crest. That's the only seller of toothpaste to you. It is a unique product. That's the only toothpaste that's out there. You can forget Aquafresh, you can forget Arm & Hammer, you can forget Crest, or all the other generic brands that are out there. There are barriers to entrance. The third characteristics of a firm that has market power is a firm that has that there are barriers to entrance. Barriers to entrance would be patents, copyrights, processes, things that ordinarily you would not be able to attach. Ownership of resources is a very popular one. Someone discovers or is able to find the vaccine to cure HIV, the HIV disease. That particular company would have a patent on the production of that particular drug for a period of 7 years after all the testing is done. After the 7 years, during that 7 years, no pharmaceutical company can legally make that particular drug. And after the end of that 7 years, then those other pharmaceutical companies can break down the properties and produce it as generic. So these might be things that prevent a firm from entering for competing against a firm with market power or a purely competitive, pure monopoly firm. And finally, it is a price maker. Unlike a firm that is a pure competitor, a pure monopolist or a firm with market power is a firm that is a price maker. Because it is a single seller selling a unique product, it can influence the price. It can raise the pricing by withholding supply. Now, what I have up here is a basic production cost revenue chart that we have, indicating our quantity, price, our total revenue, which is nothing more than price times quantity, marginal revenue, which is the change in total revenue, our average total cost, our marginal cost, which is nothing more than the change in total cost, and the profit or loss that we have. I want to draw your attention specifically to the price of the good and to the marginal revenue of that good. If you can remember, in a purely competitive firm, marginal revenue was equal to price. Well, in this situation, our price is $162 at the first unit. Our marginal revenue is $162 at the first unit. So that's equal. It's almost like you would think it would follow suit. But the second unit I have to sell you, I lower my price to $152, but my marginal revenue is less than that, less than my price. It's $142. In order to get you to buy the third unit, I have to lower my price even more. but my marginal revenue is below my price. And we can see that except for the very first unit, at all points, my marginal revenue is less than my price. So if we were to visually take a look at this on a graph, again, because it is a single seller, the firm that is a pure monopolist or a firm with market power is a single seller. It is the industry. And therefore, the demand curve for the industry would be downward sloping. But my marginal revenue curve is at all points below my demand curve. And the reason for that is twofold. We have two reasons why my marginal revenue curve is less than my demand curve. The first reason, in order for me to get you to buy more, I have to lower my price. In this case, I'm lowering my price $10 at every unit. In order to get you to buy the first unit, I have to lower my price to $162. In order to get you to buy the second unit, I have to lower my price to $152. The third unit to $142. That's what we talked about in the very beginning of our conversation. I think it was chapter 2 or chapter 3 when we talked about demand. The law of demand, in order to get that, there's an inverse relationship. In order to get you to buy more, I have to lower my price. However, the price decrease is not just on this unit. This is the second reason. The price decrease is just not on this third unit. In other words, I'm going to sell you the third unit for $142, but I'm going to sell you the second unit for $122. I'm going to sell you the first unit for $142. And therefore, the price decrease is not just on this unit, but it's also on this unit, and it's also on this unit. The price decrease on the fourth unit is not for $132. We're taking 4 times $132 to get a total revenue. That means I charge you $132 for the fourth unit and all previous units. And therefore, because of that, because of those two reasons, to increase my quantity, I have to lower the price. And number two, the price decrease is not just on that unit, but all former units, dictates to me why my marginal revenue curve is at all points. My marginal revenue is less, sorry about that. My marginal revenue is less than my demand curve. So it's a very important factor that we have to realize in this particular situation.